Hello, everyone. Really excited to be here. My name is Sandhya Sridharan. I'm the head of JPMC Enterprise Toolchain, what we refer to as JET. It's a platform that provides full SDLC capabilities, self-service, automation, full end-to-end capabilities. I've been with JPMC for about 10 months, and prior to that, led large-scale engineering teams both at VMware and at Oracle. Including SRE and our CI/CD functions. So engineering acceleration is top of mind for me, and optimizing for speed of delivery without compromising on security, quality, compliance, and customer centricity is absolutely key for our success. So today, I'm going to spend a bit of time taking you through what we at JPMC are doing for engineering acceleration, especially with regards to providing faster value to our customers. But before I get started, let me set some context. As you can tell from these numbers, we operate at a very large scale, right? These are eye-popping numbers: $27 trillion in assets, $6 trillion of payments processed daily. We have a huge responsibility on our shoulders. So security, resiliency, performance are absolutely key for our success. But for this presentation, we'll primarily focus on the technology scale, right? So as you can tell, we have 50,000 plus technologists. North of 40,000 of them are developers. And we deploy about 70,000 builds to cloud per week. And we have north of 6,000 applications, right? And there is extreme complexity and variations in these applications. Variety in terms of languages, the platforms and OSS that we support. And being a bank, the governance and compliance check through our SDLC cycle with security scanning, threat modeling, etc., becomes extremely important. So our SDLC platform, like during my introduction that I mentioned, is called JET, right? JPMC Enterprise Toolchain. And it's a composite of 15 plus products and solutions that are both homegrown, vendor, as well as open source solutions as well. And given the size and complexity of our developer community and the volume of builds and deployments, the JET platform needs to have large scale enterprise grade characteristics, which we refer to our tenet as ROSES: resilient, observable, secure, extensible, and scalable. So it's basically for our developers, the goal is they just need to be focused on writing and committing code and getting the value in the hands of our customers, right? The platform should just be invisible. It should just work. And JET is also very cloud agnostic because we are, in order for us to expand and grow, we want to be able to make sure we take our workloads anywhere, wherever we want it to be. And that's why it's very important for us. It's very continuous delivery and deployment becomes that much more critical for us. So in the in the software development landscape, continuous delivery has become paramount for success. Yet, many are not realizing the benefits of continuous delivery and deployment. The ability to deploy at any time on any supported platform is essential for developer productivity and customer centricity. See, although many of us practice some form of agile methodology, iterative progress, but often we we fall prey to kind of bundling every release containing large bundle like feature changes and bug fixes into a deployment. Also, we often believe that releasing small increments of value is straightforward, and we lose sight of big roadblocks and and misconceived expectations, right? So for many companies, continuous delivery means deploying 30, 50 times a day. And for many, that's not realistic, or their customers, especially at enterprise level, customers are not willing or ready to consume new features on a daily basis. But continuous delivery is what helps here, because you can deploy anytime and whenever you're ready for that customer value, right? So, and I think it's up, in order to make sure we have a mature continuous delivery model, you must have automated code and the full end-to-end automation for testing and so on, which will increase your confidence of the quality of the code that's being released, right? So having the continuous delivery model, that's solid, leads to faster time to market. The value that you're delivering, even if it's either it's daily or it's once a week or a few times a month, that value in the hands of a customer with high amount of quality, high degree of quality, is extremely critical for generating that customer value and that keeping that revenue base, right? And also through the testing process, gives you high level of confidence of what, and high level of predictability of what you are delivering to customers, and you get that feedback a lot sooner, right? And then also, when you are delivering value in smaller chunks, and when something goes wrong, which in all software deliveries, it's your deployments are never perfect, then it becomes easier to isolate those issues and provide fixes a lot, provide fixes a lot sooner, and in extreme cases even roll back your change set, right? So, earlier I mentioned that, about the complexity and variety in our applications, right? The large volume of applications, as well as, the complexity of the landscape of those applications. So JPMC has been around for a while, right? For a long time. And company has been pioneer in terms of providing, applications, automation for over a couple of decades. In the process, we have our own share of legacy monolith applications. And these applications they are going through and have gone through a modernization journey, and we've seen a huge uptick in our adoption of continuous integration and deployment numbers, right? So we do a north of 80,000 builds per day. And on some days we've peaked at, 93, 94,000 builds, right? And our number of deployments are continuously increasing as well. And what adds to the complexity of scale, and which is a good thing actually in this case, is as we are going through our modernization journey with our applications, the monoliths are being decomposed and broken down into smaller modules or microservices, which then increases the number of components in our system, right? And our number of deployments have more than doubled in the past couple of years. So our choice of tooling is extremely critical for our success, right? For our scale and complexity are only going to grow. And so Jet has standardized on Spinnaker for our continuous delivery deployment, right? And then as you can see, we've actually also, our cloud provider, the endpoints is, we've picked the best of breed cloud providers, right, for cloud strategy. We very early on, we invested in our private cloud. And really, we are moving more towards a very policy-based, cloud-agnostic deployment. And hence, it becomes very important for us to select a delivery or a deployment tool that's cloud-agnostic as well, and supports multiple clouds as well. So now let's look at why Spinnaker, and how it aligns with the SDLC best practices at JPMC. So I talked about the need for a cloud agnostic platform, right? Because we want to deploy to a cloud of our choice. And now, in order for faster adoption of Jet among those 50,000+ technologists, and maintain security and quality standards, we recommend a set of patterns to our developers. So we have what we call it the build pattern or the deployment pattern. So it's critical for us to be able to manage these patterns as code, because what these patterns provides is a quick, easy adoption for our developers. And then if need be, then they can customize or scale beyond that, right? And then, so it's very critical for us to manage these patterns as code, whether it's via a YAML construct or something similar. So having the capability of pipeline as code is extremely important to accelerate adoption and maintain the set of patterns and the necessary overrides, because we have 8 lines of businesses that we support that comprises of these 50,000 technologists. Each one of them have a varying degree of platform support, SDLC cycles. We want them to keep their independence, right? We don't want to provide a lot of guardrails kind of that restricts their acceleration. But at the same time, the tool needs to make sure, especially given that we are a bank, provides a set of governance, especially around security and compliance. So that, and hence the criticality of a build pattern or a deployment pattern increases. Now, so we also have a centralized policy engine where we have rules and policies for automation deployment. So again, at runtime, we want to be able to make a decision on what cloud to go to based on a set of policies. For example, let's take a policy around capacity. So I'm an application which I'm allowed as a policy to deploy to a cloud provider of my choice. And so today I go to a private cloud instance. And now, as I'm getting my performance and scale environments ready to go, I am now realizing that I don't have capacity on that to do my large scale and performance testing. So based on the policy, which would say, okay, if you hit a certain threshold on my public cloud, now just take that burst to another cloud provider, AWS, Google, and any other cloud provider of choice, right? So that's one set of policies. We have other policies that says, okay, I'm an application that I'm never allowed to leave my private cloud because of governance, GDPR, regulatory concerns, or variety of other governance factors. And so those are all the policies that I can actually make decisions to deploy at runtime. I don't need to worry about that during my blueprint. I don't need to worry about that during when I'm running my test workloads or my end-to-end tests, scale performance tests, or any of that. But at the time when I'm ready to deploy is when I make those deployment decisions. So having that policy engine associated with your deployment tool and with the richness of policy as code makes Spinnaker an extremely attractive tool of choice, right? And of course, the multi-cloud support as well. And because of that multi-cloud support, it avoids JPMC from having a single vendor lock-in, so it gives us the upper hand in it. And of course, and more of us, high availability has become extremely critical. Even with enterprise-grade solutions, availability and uptime is measured to some of the consumer solutions out there, like the LinkedIn's and the Facebook and Google's of the world, right? So it's very important for enterprise solutions to also have when you're doing upgrades or deployments, have zero downtime deployments. So having blue-green deployments is great, that you can have your existing deployment as well as your new deployment until you're good to go to turn it on, reduces our downtime significantly, right? And also having canary support, with the combination of feature toggles and having that canary analysis and that full automation to say, okay, when your analysis says, everything is good to go, either now, deploy your code to additional nodes, or if the analysis and your metrics says things are not going well, either completely roll back or keep keep those changes to those smaller set of specified nodes. And then we've been looking at Kayenta as well, and it looks quite promising for us to start using those as well. right? And single pane of glass, and I'm sure many developers will say this, single pane of glass, context switching is one of the things that kills developer productivity. And it's true, with 40,000 developers, it is true, right? So one of my big OKRs is how can I eliminate that, reduce that amount of context switching that happens. And with the rich API support and the single pane of glass that Spinnaker provides, helps us actually use that into what we call it the Jet console, and all the richness of that, single view of all your pipeline, of your canary analysis, where you are with your deployment, what got deployed, what got rolled back, all of that goodness into that single pane of glass with the Jet console is extremely rich. And of course, the last is, how, very industry aligned. It's got a huge open source footprint with large contributions from the community, right? And also both Spinnaker and JPMC are both part of the Continuous Delivery Foundation. So that's our journey on continuous delivery and deployment. With that, I'll open it up for any questions. Let's see.
Yeah, I can help you with the questions. I'm sorry, Sandhya, I'm off my, okay, here's one. So do you have any examples which we can see on how you have set up the Spinnaker pipelines? I'm not sure that you'll be able to share that in this call, but I'll let you answer.
No, yeah, that's correct. I will, yeah. So no, I don't have any examples for that in this call, and this is something that we may release it as a white paper, or probably in a different talk.
Gotcha. So yeah, we look forward to seeing some of that down the road in the community. Can you share a bit more about JPMC's strategy to be cloud vendor neutral? It says, in the past, IT always pushed for single vendor solutions. So what's driving this cloud neutrality initiative?
No, that's a great question. Definitely, number one is to avoid vendor lock-in, right? That's one. And then second is each of the cloud providers in certain niche areas are superior than others, right? So we want to be able to make use of the best of breed for, say, analytics. If and then there are a few other examples that I can think of in terms of scale and very niche areas that each individual cloud provider. So we want to be able to tap into the best of breed for those. So that's why it's also critical that all our solutions, including our IT, as we were one of the early adopters of private cloud, and now we're accelerating our journey into public cloud this year. Great acceleration this year, and we want to be able to make sure we pick and choose the cloud provider that gives us that best outcome in the niche areas that we venture into.
Makes sense. The other question, which I think you sort of touched on, was any plans to contribute knowledge to the Spinnaker.io community? So open source contributions, are those on the table at JPMC?
Absolutely, yeah. So we are a big proponent of open source. So you will see a lot more contributions from us. We have open source projects around, we have Sandboni, around ChangeSet. So just even outside of just Spinnaker, but definitely with the large customer base and the volume that we will have, and we have our own homegrown development that's happening on top of Spinnaker, which we plan to contribute back to the community as well.
Awesome. And that makes it hard for me not to do a shameless plug. If there are JPMC engineers on the call, we'd love to see you join us for Spinnaker Gardening Days, which is our Spinnaker Hackathon. 2.0 is coming up on July 16th, and we'd love to see you as part of the community. Thank you so much, Sandhya, for sharing that with us. Such a great and polished presentation about what you're doing with Spinnaker at scale. It's awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, folks. Thank you. Bye-bye.